So, gosh, after going to sleep and then waking up the next morning, not realizing really how catastrophic or what had happened, like while I was sleeping or while we were sleeping, you didn't even really understand. You just couldn't take it in, like what happened. So the next morning when I came into work, I remember just opening my phone just for like a split second and then just like having to take a minute to just sit down and just like, I watched like maybe a clip on like the news or something, or like somebody's Instagram story. And it was just like, you just had to sit down to just kind of like, it was so unbelievable, like what was being seen by like the helicopter footage. And then just really just like watching it over, like, is this real? It was like a nightmare. I didn't really know what to do immediately, but I knew that something had to be done, that there were people that were in need, that there were people that needed help. So hearing on the radio of like hubs or donations needed, that day I just texted my daughter and I asked her if she wanted to come to War Memorial with me to drop off some donations, and just like running to wherever, I mean, everybody on Maui was just running to the grocery stores or to like Walmart and just grabbing things that were like necessities and essentials that people needed right away, and how to get them to Lahaina. After the first like trip to War Memorial and just pulling into the parking lot, just seeing how many people were there helping and just sprung into action, was incredible. After dropping off the donations that I felt like were what I could afford at the time or what I could contribute, coming back to the shop and kind of just figuring out what else needs to be done. I mean, we had weddings and events of Lahaina residents, and in Lahaina, like that week, it's like everything just comes to a complete halt. You know, like you need to figure out, when you have a business, you need to figure out an action plan and what needs to be done. But I knew for sure, 100%, that I was gonna close the shop for the rest of the week, for a week or 2 weeks or however long I felt was needed. At the registration, this is the registration for the volunteers. Like as I was standing at the table, like I just, hundreds and hundreds of people there. I just felt not like a chill, but I just felt something similar to that. And there was this old Filipino lady that was walking on the pathway probably a couple times. And so I kind of flipped my head and saw her with the corner of my eye. And I didn't think anything of it at the first time. But there was just this strong energy, strong magnetic pull that was like drawing me to her. And second or third time that I turned around, when she came back around the walkway again, I noticed she was wearing my favorite color shirt, which is purple. And I just like kind of left my post, and I just had to, like, I could feel something. I could feel God telling me something or speaking and just saying like, go up to her right now and talk to her. And like, I don't know, hug her, do something. I just needed to meet this lady. So I said, other registration volunteers, I'll be right back. And I just ran straight up to her real quick. And I just grabbed her by the shoulders and I said, Nana, I said, you're wearing my favorite color. It's beautiful on you. I said, I love it. I said, are you okay? And she just looked at me and she said, no, anako. I said, what's wrong? And she said, I'm hungry. I like rice. I said, she goes, do you have rice? I said, no, go inside, go eat. I know they have food inside there. And she goes, I don't like, you know, she was speaking very little English. So I told her, I'm sorry, I don't have rice. No. So I said, I gotta go. So I ran back to the registration. I told myself that I was gonna go back there, go back inside and talk to her later on when I have time. So that night when I got home, I was with my son, and it was like the first time in maybe like 3 days, because it was 2 or 3 days after the fire. And it was the first time I actually was just like laying in stillness and just kind of like, just taking everything in and reflecting on everything that happened. You know, like when something like that happens, it's like call to action. You know, you just jump in and do what needs to be done, and you don't really have a time to kind of like take it in. So that night, my son was in the living room, and it was maybe like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And I think that's the first time I actually like laid down and just kind of like allowed myself to grieve and just, you know, for our island, for our community, for our people. And so I just felt my heart breaking so much. And I just said like, okay, like there's a reason that lady, what did that mean? What did that mean? And, you know, and I felt like a really loud voice speak to me, like, go feed your people. Go, you know, like she was saying she needs rice. So I jumped out of bed and I just said like, oh my God, Legend, that's it. And I screamed in the house. And I said, Legend, that's it. Get your stuff, we're going to the store right now. And he was like, what? I said, just get your stuff, let's go. And we went to Times Supermarket, and I just knew I wanted to cook all the Filipino food as much as I could with whatever money I had and go and feed them in the shelter. So Legend and I, anyway, are at the grocery store, and I just loaded up the shopping cart with just like everything, like chicken, pork, beef. Like Legend was like, what's going on? I said, we're gonna make lauya, we're gonna make pork and peas, we're gonna make like chicken papaya, whatever we can scrounge up at 11 o'clock at night at Times Supermarket, right? One of my friends, Kim, called me and she's like, hey, what are you doing? I said, oh my gosh, craziest thing, you're not gonna believe this. I'm actually gonna cook right now with my son, like pans and pans of just Filipino food, like all kinds of Filipino food. Do you wanna come over and help? And she was like, yeah, okay, you know, and so she came over to my house right away. And then I called my friend Ray, and I said, hey, I have this really crazy idea. Legend and I are gonna cook, and I wanna cook for everybody that's in the shelter. I don't know how many people are there, but I know we need a lot. So can you come over and help and like just help us cook? And he said, yeah. And he said, you know what? He said, oh my gosh, I think I have like some bentos like that my friend gave me. Just bring it. And he's like, I got warmers too. I got warmers, pans. I'm like, oh my God, bring that too. We're gonna need that too. So he just came over at midnight too and just like brought the bentos. And so he had all the tools that we needed to make this happen. I mean, if we didn't have the bentos, I don't know, maybe we would have served out of like the paper bowls that I had, like, or I don't know, but the warmers that he had was really like something that we needed. I didn't have warmers. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if I had a plan. I was just gonna like bring the big pots like in the back of my car or something to just serve them from the pots. But I just knew that this is what God told me he wanted me to do. So when he came over, he brought all the styrofoam bento plates and the warmers and his biggest rice cooker. And it was so amazing. I mean, like the love that was put into these meals was incredible. We cooked huge pans and huge pots of pork and peas and pork lauya and gosh, what else? I'm trying to remember the very first meal that we cooked, which was August of last year. So anyway, after we did that, we went back the next morning. I mean, we stayed up till like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning cooking these huge pans and pots. And we went back to the shelter the next morning. I went to all the Filipinos, or the ones that I knew, and I told them all, can you guys come, just meet us in the back parking lot by the bathrooms. We'll meet you guys there. We have, food. slowly, all of the Filipinos, we just went to the bathrooms by the back parking lot of the shelter, the stadium, and they were just so grateful just receiving like actual food, like hot meals and authentic soul food, like stuff that they actually like cooked at home. It was a taste of home. After maybe like the second or third day of coming back from the shelter, it was such an amazing experience. Like on the way home, I felt God telling me, like, make a video. You need help. You cannot do this on your own. You need to do this video. And all the words of what I was gonna say in this video to who, like, you know, I knew that my family, 100%, like they all cook delicious meals, like they all know how, like our family needed it. So I pulled over and I was sharing with them just like what an incredible experience it was, like doing what me, Kim, and Ray did, and Legend, and then going and serving and delivering it, and just telling them how important it was, like, for them to help their brothers and sisters in need. Your Filipino brothers and sisters need you. They need you right now, and this is the only way that God called us to do, or called me to do, and I need your guys' help. I can't do this alone, like funds, financially first, and then just like physically, I need like your hands.
We can figure something out.
So it was about a like 5.5 minute video that I made just to my family. I didn't post it. I didn't put it anywhere. Everybody kind of texted me and said like, yeah, we're in. What do you need? What do you need? And that's kind of like the beginning, or like the birth of this whole like feeding Lahaina. And they really did see how much it meant to the Filipinos, because my family was able to come with me to the shelter to actually serve. And they really seen how much it meant to them. They were, and just how grateful they all were. So it grew. It just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And that Filipino nana, unbelievably, could speak a very little English. So Holy Spirit really did lead me to her, because like that week that I was visiting her every single day, she was explaining to me that they put her, saying her husband got tested for COVID. So they separated her. I mean, they probably been married since they were like teenagers. I talked to my uncle because they had nowhere to go. They didn't have any like family that would take them in, or her daughter, her son didn't live here. Her daughter didn't live here. Her other son was in Philippines, and her like sister, that the house that she was living in Lahaina, was in Alaska, like on holiday, on vacation. So I was like, oh my gosh, you know, I had to bring like my uncle to translate because she spoke only like Ilocano. So anyway, I talked to my uncle into taking her and her husband into his house to live. They became a family. But when we were in my uncle's house, we finally got time to like FaceTime Nana Victoria's daughter, which lives in Virginia. And my family was present there, and my cousin Monica was there. And this was like, I think the most like, oh yeah, boom, like this is really like a calling. When we were FaceTiming her daughter, she said like, oh, it's so nice to meet you, so nice to meet you. Thank you so much, thank you. You know, like us, me, everybody over here, we've been praying so hard every day. I've been praying for God to send a guardian angel to take care of my parents because I'm not there. You know, she said, I cannot come right away. And I have small children. So we just kept praying that they would be safe. And I think that God kind of like gave me that assignment specifically for Nana Victoria. She was shy, she couldn't speak English, she had nowhere to go. And so, yeah, so that was It was really like hit my heart as soon as she said that. And like, even for my family, you know, because I told them this was like a spiritual, like God really communicated to me like what he wanted me to do and what he wanted us to do and what he needed us to do. So yeah, so after that, it kind of, you know, my family got really excited about it, and we started planning like meals and writing them on like a whiteboard. I didn't even think about the money part of it. Really, it was just like whatever I had, like that's, you know, even if I was exhausting my own funds, it was like I don't know, like miracles would just come, and like people, you know, neighbors would be like, here's $100, you know, like we've seen what you guys are doing. And then, you know, my family just kind of started reaching out to their own personal friends, like even friends in the mainland and family. And so it was something that we were just continuing, and we did it like, holy cow, every single day. Once everybody was getting like moved into the Royal Lahaina, we did it every single day. And, you know, like I had the opportunity to, or, you know, a lot of us had the opportunity to, because things kind of just went to a halt. Like everybody was being where they needed to be to help in the community. So our shop was closed, like there was no need for anybody to come to work, and we could commit to that, or I could commit to that, you know. And it was that commitment every single day, being able to deliver the meals. We started cooking at my place, my uncle's house. We started delivering the meals in the warmers, and we wanted the food to be hot. So we kept them in the warmers, and then we would all convoy to Lahaina. And one of my cousins was working at like the elementary school below Lahaina Luna, and we just pulled in the parking lot, and then that's where we plated everything. So we like had a whole like system on my cousin's tail truck bed, and just plated it there so it would be nice and fresh and hot for them. And then it became to every Sunday, because I know that there were other companies and other restaurants that were delivering food to them as well. So we were all sharing in this need. And then we had the prom dress donation drive. So it kind of like slowed down to like once a week. So we just continued. And, you know, slowly, I know like my family, they get tired every week. It was like, this is a lot. Like, I'm sorry, I can't make it. Like, so Ray has been there with me from day one, coming up with like meal plans and dishes and recipes. And so he was really like there for me 100%. Super grateful for my family. My Auntie Imelda even flew over from Honolulu to come and help. And they really were like the taste testers of my Filipino dishes. And I've learned how to master Filipino food now, because all the aunties had a contribution to like what I needed to fix or add or take away from all of the dishes. So Danielle and like Michelle, my mom was actually on a trip, and then told her that like, come home, like this is what we're doing. Like, and when like the first day that she came back, it was like, okay, we went straight to her house and started cooking in her kitchen, or like they were cooking in her kitchen and I was cooking in mine. So really, I think from the very first day that we started, I can't even put an exact number, but I have an approximate of how many meals. We probably served about 5,000 or so like plate lunches from the very first time that we started. And it was, most of it was from like just whatever I had, and depleted all of my funds, exhausted all of my own personal funds. And then just grateful for like all the donations that we got from Lahaina Rotary sometimes, and from personal friends and family, like near and far. But it was really just expensive Costco trips and like Auntie Lita at GMA Imports, like her donating vegetables, and like, you know, my auntie and her boyfriend and his family, just here and there. But really, I didn't ask. Like, I didn't even ask money. Like, there were some days where I was like, I have to go and serve Lahaina. I know they're expecting me this Sunday. And so whatever I had, I just knew that I would just make something out of it, even if I had to cut up the pork even smaller than what it was the weekend before. But I knew that I wanted to still serve and I wanted to still show up for them. There was this lady that worked for Hui Ho'omalu, and it's an organization that helps the displaced families. Just being there, they provided like free massages and just like mental health services, just to making sure that the displaced families were being well cared of in a mental capacity. And so two of them, Kehao, came up to my van. She's like, hey, I just want to introduce myself. You know, everybody here has been talking about you guys, and I just had to come and meet you. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, well, you know, like there's like, you know, other people are, you know, come and deliver like cold sandwiches, and the, you know, the Filipino nanas and tatas tell them like, oh, no, it's okay. There's a Filipino girl coming to bring hot Filipino food. We're okay. We're gonna. So they were like turning away like sandwiches or whatever, cookies, and like waiting for this like one Filipino meal, hot meal a week. I'm like, what? Like, so she goes, so we had to come and meet you. She's like, oh, so I said, okay, here, sample. And then so from there, this relationship built, and she just said she was just so, I don't know, just so shocked and so admired by like our commitment to just randomly, like most of these Filipinos that we come and deliver food to every single week for the past year don't even know my name. Like they don't even know where we're from. They don't care. They just want to eat the adobo and pinakbet. Like they didn't care where it came from, but they knew that it was ono, and they knew that it was hot, and it came from a girl in a white van. Like it's just, they were just so, oh my gosh, oh my heart, it just made them so happy. It just made them so happy, and it made us so happy to just be able to like offer this and deliver this and just be a part of making the Filipino elders, or for my Filipino brothers and sisters happy. And so anyway, so how just like this relationship built within us and between us, and she said, you know, like she just wants us to cook our famous Filipino food for them and for their organization and their events. And so they did an appreciation day for the employees of Royal Lahaina Resort, which we got to be a part of. Laura makes these amazing desserts, and truly, you know, the prom donation drive that we did also for the Lahaina Luna kids and for the upcountry kids was huge. But Laura Stanton was a volunteer that I met through the prom donation drive, and she is an amazing baker. So she started being a part of our Sunday meal deliveries too, and made like banana bread and cookies, and she was there like on Sundays like to help us serve, and she's so amazing. So Laura was also like a huge part of it. I'm just so grateful for Ray and Laura and Leimomi and Kumu Eva and just like Sumo, the Takushi Ohana, like just everybody that's been a part of like this idea and this passion and this like drive of like wanting to feed and take care, because we all know that like food is really where it like brings us joy, like the cooking, the preparing, and then ultimately the serving and seeing like our brothers and sisters so happy and just so grateful. Like the gratitude that came from this really humbled all of us. And I hope to continue, and I hope to meet some of them or be reunited with some of them someday, because like I really felt like they were like family. And not even knowing their first names, or you could just feel like I honestly could feel like their pain. I could see in their eyes. I could just carry the weight of their burden. And it was heavy. It was hard to see. Like that could be anybody's dad, uncle, and it was really hard to see. But just to be a part of this, of giving back to our Filipino community, and to a community that has been so loyal to my family and I, and to our family business, really means a lot. So I wish that I could have done more for them. But I'm just so grateful that this tiny act of service was meaningful for my family and I, for Ray, Laura, and for our community. Like, I'm just so grateful that they allowed us to do this for them.
What we did for Lahaina is only a true representation of who we are and what we were taught growing up in Hawaii. This is our culture, to have compassion and take care of one another. Tulungan mo sila, to help. August 8th was a catastrophic day for Maui and its people. On this solemn day that has changed all of our lives and community forever, we pause to remember the lives lost, the homes destroyed, and the families forever changed by this devastating event. As we reflect on the profound loss and grief that this day brings, we also honor the resilience and strength of those who have come together in the face of tragedy. May we continue to support one another, rebuild hope, and keep the memories of those affected in our hearts. Today we stand together, united in remembrance and in the spirit of aloha that defines Maui. We are resilient and always will be. Lahaina strong, upcountry strong, Maui strong.